Everything you conjure up in your imagination is actually happening to your mind. Like it actually thinks that what you're experiencing is real life. So you need to use this as your manifestation strategy. The very first underrated manifestation ritual is dun dun dun, visualization. And I sometimes refrain from calling it visualization, I think because it's more of a mental rehearsal. So I like to call it mental rehearsal because that's what it is. I feel like some people have the gift of being able to see images very clearly in their minds, but over the course of teaching, many, many students, I recently in my book proposal had to go into the back end of my business and I asked my COO, how many students have we served through the course of Manifestation Babes history? And I'm thinking like 5,000 people, right? Because I'm just mostly thinking about how many students I've had in MBA over the last 2 years. And for whatever reason, that's like the number that stuck out to me. And she reported back to me that we have served 55,000 students. What? So I've taught a lot of people. I have collected many different stories, many different testimonials, feedback from my students, received so many questions. I feel like I can really fine tune the manifestation process for just about anyone. And the number one feedback that I would get to visualization is like, Kathrin, I don't see pictures. I can't visualize. So I feel like I can't manifest. And that's just not true. Visualization doesn't just have to be about what you see. It could also be about what you hear or what you sense or what you know or what you feel. It's however your mind conjures up this knowing that something has happened or will happen. For example, when I ask you to think about what you ate for dinner last night, for example, I know that I had these bomb chicken tenders, these air-fried, gluten-free chicken tenders from True Food Kitchen. If you know what I'm talking about, you guys are so addicting. Let me know. Seriously, send me a DM or a comment on my latest post or somewhere so I can see it. How good are those chicken tenders? If you know what I'm talking about. They're just so freaking good. And I'm not one to eat junk food or order fast food. So if I can find chicken tenders that are not made with a bunch of junk and seed oils and like breading that isn't really good for you and super deep fried, I'm all for it. That's beside the point. How do I know that I ate them, right? I literally see myself eating them. Like I can see it through my mind's eye. There's a very clear visual. But for someone else, like I've asked my students before, and they just like have a sense or a knowing that they had chicken tenders, or maybe they hear themselves ordering the chicken tenders, or they hear the conversation that happened at the restaurant last night. And so they just know what they ordered because they know that in that restaurant, their go-to order is XYZ. So however you picture that is your form of visualization. Another example is, let's say you booked a vacation to the Caribbean next week. Okay. So next Friday, you're going to the Caribbean. And I know that for anyone who has an actual vacation that's booked for next Friday in the Caribbean, they would be feeling a certain level of excitement. I call this excitement vacation anticipation. It's actually an energy that you could use for manifestation of like, if you knew that something is inevitable, like when you know you have a vacation coming up in about 7 days, there's a certain energy that you carry yourself with through the week. It's like no problem is too big. Nothing can affect you. You just have a pep in your step. You're much happier. Little things don't get to you because you're like, fuck it. I got a vacation coming up next week, right? So when you have this vacation coming up in your mind, you know that you have this thing coming up. What do you see? What do you experience? How do you imagine what you're going to be doing or how you're going to be flying or how you're going to be relaxing in the Caribbean? So however you process those images as I'm asking you this question is your visualization tactic. So that's how you know. You don't have to embody or you don't have to try on something that works for someone else. You just need to ask yourself, okay, how do I bring up memories in my own mind? Or how do I imagine something to happen in the future, to occur in the future, you use that tactic as your visualization strategy. Okay. Why visualization works for anyone who doesn't know, or let's call it mental rehearsal, is because the mind cannot tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So, for as long as the subconscious mind is concerned, whatever is being impressed upon the subconscious through your imagination, however that imagination manifests, is literally going on in the mind as if it's real life. The subconscious mind. So think about when you're watching a movie, right? You're watching a movie and think about a movie that you're like so into, you forget that reality exists. Like you forget that you're sitting on your couch watching the movie, or you're sitting in a movie theater watching the movie, and you're feeling what the characters are feeling. You're experiencing, you're like on the edge of your seat. Something scary is about to happen. Something crazy is about to happen, or something really funny just happened, or the characters just went through something really sad. And so you literally feel emotional, right? You're experiencing the movie as if it's happening to you. Why does that happen? Because of the subconscious mind and how the mind can't tell the difference between what is real and what is imagined. So everything you conjure up in your imagination is actually happening to your mind. Like it actually thinks that what you're experiencing is real life. So you need to use this as your manifestation strategy. You need to use this as, like, you need to take advantage of this instead of thinking of all the things that you're worried about or how it's not going to work out or the worst case scenario. You need to start using this tool to impress upon your mind the best case scenario, as if your manifestation is already done, as if it's worked out far better than you can even imagine. So some of my favorite ways to visualize is I like to visualize to music, and it's because music helps me feel a specific way that I want to feel. So I turn on a really feel good song. I try not to listen to music with lyrics or too many lyrics in the song, just because I feel like it's distracting. I feel like if I'm hearing words, then my mind is going to be creating a visual for what the words are of the song rather than what I'm trying to visualize. And what I'll do is, instead of coming up with this very complex visualization where I'm literally trying to come up with a whole movie in my mind, I like to think of just one scene. So I like to think of one scene that speaks to me. So asking myself, how would I know once a manifestation has manifested? What exactly am I going to see? What exactly am I going to hear? Am I going to hear people celebrating? Am I going to hear myself celebrating? Am I going to send a celebratory text to someone? Am I going to take a picture of it? Like what's going to happen? What is actually in my real life going to happen when I know that it's already done? And then I'll think of just one scene. So one of my favorite scenes to think about is like receiving a phone call from someone telling me that something happened. And so I will replay that phone conversation. Like I'll see myself having my phone on speakerphone, hearing the other person's voice for this very specific manifestation. And I'll hear their voice over and over and over again, repeating the same thing that I need to hear. So it's just that one scene. And then I will feel into how I'm actually going to be feeling as I'm receiving that news. And for the course of one or two or three songs, just depending on how long they are or how much time I have, whether it's 2 minutes, a 2-minute song, or 3 2-minute songs, so 6 minutes total, I'm just going to be repeating that scene over and over again. I think another strategy that you can use is imagining an ideal day in your life 1 to 2 years to 3 years from now. And over the course of that song or a few songs, you're just taking yourself through your day from morning all the way through evening. So exactly how are you going to wake up? Where are you waking up? Who are you waking up next to? What are you eating for breakfast? What's the first thing on your to-do list? Like, what are you doing with your free time? What are you doing for work? When you check your bank account in the morning, how much money do you have? Who handles the finance in this dream life, right? Like you're thinking of all these details and you're taking yourself through a more of a longer scale movie, essentially. And that's another strategy that you can do. I also really like to create a vision board. I've been using vision boards since I got into manifestation, and something that I teach my students inside of my masterclass, Vision Board Alchemy, which, if you didn't know, I do have a full masterclass, like very in-depth masterclass on exactly how to build a vision board that actually works. I'll drop it in the show notes if you haven't heard of it. Highly, highly recommend it if you like don't know where to start, or the free stuff on the internet just isn't doing it. It's not working for you. I will give you the shit that actually works and tell you exactly how to pick the right pictures and the right words to put on your vision board that actually do something to your subconscious mind. I'll look at a vision board, my vision board, and just kind of pop myself into each of the images. So kind of jump back and forth into the images and use that as visualization help, especially if you have a hard time like really seeing things in your mind. Maybe you just need something, like you need a building block of inspiration to then take you actually into the image. Going on social media and like watching a video. I do this all the time, especially when I'm manifesting a travel experience of some sort, especially when I could not afford travel back in the day, especially to the level at which I travel today. Let's say that I want to manifest first class international seats and I have never flown first class international seats. I will go on YouTube, the beauty of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all of these incredible platforms where other people have documented their experiences in the very experiences that you want to manifest. Go ahead and like watch those videos. And they'll literally give you the scenes that you need for your own imagination. So if you have no idea what a first class seat is like, go watch some videos and then literally you know what it looks like exactly, the exact airlines that you want to fly, the exact row maybe that you want to sit in. Now you can imagine it. You know where the buttons are, you know exactly how you're going to lay flat, you know what the flight attendants' outfits look like, you know exactly the food that's going to be served. And it becomes so easy for you to have these building blocks for your visualization practice. So visualization, mental rehearsal, whatever you want to call it, this shit scientifically has been proven to work. Like literally Olympic athletes have been hooked up, their brains have been hooked up to machinery, and certain athletes were asked to perform actual like physical exercises, and the other athletes were asked to just imagine that they were running through certain drills or going through their sport or whatever the sport is. I think some of the first people that these experiments were done on were skiers, Olympic skiers. So just imagine you're skiing or actually ski, and the exact same parts of the brain, you guys, were lit up, whether the person was actually skiing or running or jumping or whatever it is, versus just imagining that they were doing that. Like that's insane. It's so cool.